Good morning. I just want to make a video this morning because I was just really strongly reminded of something upon watching my morning ritual of getting up and drinking something and watching YouTube videos and getting my day in order and kind of setting goals for the day. It seems to be pretty consistent for that ritual has been pretty consistent for a long time, so I don't have to worry about changing that. But what I realized this morning when I started watching it is that part of the reason a lot of these things haven't been sticking is because I have a tendency, and I realize this about myself, of wanting to change so many things at once and wanting to get so many things done at the same time. Like, even in high school, I had a really hard time keeping up with homework and stuff because I saw all these things that needed to get done and wanted to do it either all at once or not at all. I would give up immediately because I would see it as a huge workload, and I have a hard time breaking things down. And I do have like a lifestyle in mind for myself, and I will get there. And sometimes, I just want it now. I just want it now, and that like it's very inhibiting. It's I find that I would ignore the actual exercise of being grateful rather than um, rather than oh, and I would. So what I'm saying is that if you are patient and you work on having gratitude, and I'm always like looking to change things in my life, and I really want to get to a point to where I'm happy to do things in the present moment, and I'm not just doing things because they're going to get me somewhere later. I don't want to. The point is, I want to live in the present, and that's my goal. Is I really want to live in the present, and I don't know how long it's taken me to get to this point, or maybe I've always been in this point. Who knows? But point being is, I want to minimize the amount of goals that I have. So so how do you do that exactly? So there's the long-standing goals that I've had, kind of the general direction I've been having with my life. So maybe a year and a half ago, I made the decision I wanted to join the military. So I've spent that time getting tattoos removed from my wrist because you can't have anything below here, below this wrist bone right here. So I'm getting this removed. I already had one removed from the back of my neck. I have some scarring on my legs that would look questionable, and it has nothing to do with my current state. So I'm getting some scars removed on my legs, and it took me a long time to actually make the decision to get the scars removed on my legs, but yeah, my general life direction is basically I'm getting ready to go into the military. Another direction that my life is going is that I also decided about a year and a half ago that I wanted to be a physical therapist. And so I'm also going in that direction. I want to be a physical therapist because I've been touching bodies and being obsessed with well-being since I was very young, and like I became a massage therapist, and I thought that being a massage therapist was just gonna get me through college, but it turned out that I just had a knack for it and I enjoyed it, and it also has been something that, because I've had to lean on it so heavily for money, I've had to really increase my skill level as that went along. So yeah, so massage kind of is turning more into well, have all these skills and all this interest in the body, well, I'm just going to build that into something instead of choosing to just change directions completely. And like, think about it, if you're a physical therapist at an old age, how many old people are there in the world who like have some sort of ache or something wrong with their body that either wasn't addressed when they were young or developed over time, and like they don't know how to take care of that. So it's like I'm gonna be like the new generation of senior citizen when I'm at that age, because I'm not gonna know how to take care of myself. I'm gonna know why things are happening to me when they're happening to me, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna keep me young, and I think as much knowledge as you can about the body is like the better to have. It's just like, why do we learn about anything else in school? We should just be learning about our bodies and how they operate and how to take care of ourselves. And because anyway, passion. yeah, so those are two directions my life is also going in. And along with that, see, this is where it gets cool. In the military, you also, yeah, you have to be physically fit. Obviously, I wasn't really worried about that. I'm a natural athlete, so any kind of physical exertion I get really excited about, or I like vigor and intensity in physical ways, any kind of way really. But I wasn't really worried about that. But I've even though I am athletic, I've never had like a consistent sport. So I chose running because it's something you can do anywhere, and it's a mental challenge, and because a lot of people do it, it's an easy way to make friends. So another direction in which my life is going in the same direction as my other two choices, and because I want to be a physical therapist, um, mainly I'm working with athletes, with athletes and like all sorts of like bodies with people inside, of course. Um, yeah, becoming an athlete would greatly help. And not only do I want to continue with running, but also swimming and eventually biking. So doing all the aspects of triathlon. And I think that would be really cool. And yeah, and this is where it gets interesting. And then there's diet. I want to, I've quit smoking pot. It's been almost 2 years now. Um, Drinking has been harder than I thought, and I say that because I'll quit drinking for a long time. Suddenly, I'll start drinking again when I get under stress. So um, I don't remember. I think maybe a few weeks ago I was drinking a little, but I think it has to do with the fact that drinking it feels kind of familiar because it's my parents weren't alcoholics, but my dad likes beer, and like he's a beer connoisseur and he likes that, and my mom likes to relax and party a little, or she used to, or she does still. So it just kind of feels like part of my roots, and I don't mean to make excuses, but it does feel familiar to me. Having a beer at the end of the day feels like something that is natural, and it's a cultural thing as well. So that's something that I've also struggled with. Um, what else? Caffeine, coffee in the morning. That is harder than alcohol. Uh, I like caffeine. You know, I I like it. It's it's hard to know when I need to stop. And then I'll put that aside for a second and say, and then I also have this raw vegan diet that I'm starting, or I already started. And adjusting diet really isn't too big of a deal for me. All I have to do is like instead of grabbing one thing, I'll grab another thing. The times of day that I eat aren't different. Um, yeah, the amount I eat isn't really any different. The cravings aren't really much different. The amount of money I spend isn't really much different. Being a raw vegan, and like I've changed my diet. I've been changing my diet since I was 13. So it's really being conscious about what I'm eating is a natural thing for me to do. So I don't really, which is like really cool. And yeah. Banana smoothie with this spicy ginger tea with a little bit of caffeine in it. I don't remember what it is. And then I added some cayenne pepper. It's amazing. Really warm me. And yeah, and because I've struggled with depression and all that. And then, oh yeah, and something else that I say like, oh yeah. So it's frustrating because I want my life to go in this one direction, but there's also things that I want to do. But what I have to realize is that I have to prioritize and get used to this habit and the consistency. Um, before I'm able, like, I have to choose one thing in my life to focus around. And obviously, it's health. But then I'm like an artist, and I have a dog, and I have a girlfriend. So it's a little confusing. But health being like kind of like an all around thing, it's kind of something I work into my life. And being in nature and being with your dog is healthy. Being with your dog is synchronizing. Um, and it's emotionally healthy at the same time. Like, I can't take all sorts of time out for him. And then there's work, obviously. Like, I have to work all of these things around my job, and like, it's just confusing. And so, and then with music, and it's like I don't ever have time to play, which is sad. I feel like my priorities are all around health, and I do go to concerts sometimes. But that's like one of those things where you're so focused in your life, and it's good to step out for a second to get motivation to continue going through your life, and I don't think that's a bad thing. So, goal for today is to do the workouts that I planned, and after work, and finish entering all of them from this sheet onto Training Peaks, and yeah, somehow brainstorm about how I can concentrate. And for some reason, I'm afraid of giving up the music. But I think I might have to, for the sake of my mental health. Because the whole reason I'm focusing on health is because I had so much trouble with my mental and emotional health. And that's why I am doing all this to begin with. So maybe I should use that as a starting point in order to choose my priority. Alright, well, this has been a really good talk, and I have to go to work, so thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.